Let's begin with why chest x-rays are important. Did you know that chest x-rays are one of the most common x-rays taken? They're incredibly important for diagnosing a host of different pathologies, and they're used in both emergency and non-emergency settings. So it's important as radiographers that we understand how to do this x-ray. You may be wondering what anatomy you need to know as a radiography student. Well, it's important that you have as best of a grasp of anatomy as you can as a student. As radiographers, it's important that we understand what's going on in the x-ray, especially if it comes to flagging up pathologies. If we have to use the red dot system, which is a system used to flag up urgent pathologies such as a pneumothorax of the chest, we need to know how to do this. So it's important we know the anatomy. In future videos, I'll be going through the details of the anatomy, but as this is a positioning video, I'll focus on the basics and mainly focus on positioning. So as you can see here, for positioning, the most important parts include the centering point, which is the 7th thoracic vertebra, T7. Also, the top of the shoulders are very important, including the acromioclavicular joints, which are also known as the ACJs, and the costophrenic angles, which are down below on either side. First things first, if we bring a patient into the room, what's the first thing we need to do? Well, we need to say hello, we need to introduce who we are, we need to introduce ourselves. So, my name is so-and-so and I'm a radiographer. I'm going to be doing your x-ray today. We have to do the correct identification checks for the patient. What's very common in the NHS is the 3-point ID check, which is full name, date of birth, and first line of address. It's also important that we tell the patient what they can expect from this x-ray, so how long it will take, what they will need to do, if they have to breathe in or not. Anything like that will do. Clothing. So we've identified the patient. Next is clothing. Are they wearing anything that will obstruct the image and actually cause an artifact to appear? And this is very important as this can mimic pathology and it could lead to the wrong diagnosis. That's not what we want. So we want to ask the patient if they have a necklace on, if they have a bra on, if we can observe with our eye if they have any tops that may have patterns that would actually show up on x-ray. So we've identified the patient actually does have these things. What do? Well, we give them a gown to change into. We tell them to remove their bra, their necklace, and instead to put a gown on. This is perfect. It's very simple and relatively easy for a patient to put on. Also, make sure that you ask them to tie their hair up, as we don't want their hair to be on the x-ray as well. So what detector are we going to use? Well, for a standard PA chest x-ray, we're going to use a 35 by 43 centimeter detector, and we want to use a grid as well. We'll be using the vertical upright bucky for this. What distance are we going to be using? 180 centimeters. And what exposure factors are we going to be using? Well, that will be 100 to 110 kVp and 4 to 8 MAS. So how do we position? We ask the patient to put their chest against the image receptor, and we ask them to wrap their arms around the image receptor, or we can ask them to put their hands on their hips and for them to roll their shoulders forwards. What does rolling the shoulders forwards do, as well as depressing the shoulders, so ensuring that they relax and roll their shoulders forward? What does this do? Well, this moves both of the scapulars out of the thorax and out of the way, so when we go and take the image, the scapulars won't be overlapping the thorax, but they'll be on the side. Also, we have to make sure that we position them in the very middle, or in more technical terms, down the mid-sagittal plane. And this just ensures that we get the full chest, everything that we need for the x-ray. So where are we going to center? Well, this will be the 7th thoracic vertebra, T7, which is just below the armpit. So if you imagine an imaginary horizontal line going from armpit to armpit, just slightly below that, down the middle, is where we want to go, as seen in the diagram here. At the top, we want to have 5 centimeters above the shoulders. At the bottom, we want to go down to the 12th rib. So when we count the ribs from top to bottom, we have to go down to the 12th. And on either side, we want to make sure we include the acromioclavicular joints, ACJs, and that will be on either side. We also have to remember to raise the patient's chin up so it's not overlapping any of the anatomy. So what are some things to remember? Well, we have to make sure that we don't have rotation on the image. So that will be shown in the clavicles. When you position the patient and you step back and look, does everything look even? Does everything look equal to you? And before you expose, it's very important to remember to put a primary beam marker on. This is a left or right marker which indicates to clinicians which side the anatomy is on. And what primary beam marker do we want? Well, we want a PA marker. So if you have a right marker, for example, you want to flip it so the R looks backwards and then stick it on the right side. On the other hand, if you have a left marker, flip it so the L is the other way around and put it on the left side. What breathing instructions do we need? Well, we'll call out, take a deep breath in and hold it. What does this do? Well, this ensures that we can see as much of the thorax as possible. So this allows the diaphragms to depress and to go down, exposing the rest of the lungs. If we don't ask them to breathe in, then the diaphragms will be raised up and we'll see less of the lung cavity. Let me show you an example. So on the left, this is a patient who hasn't taken a deep breath in. And as you can see, compared to the right, the diaphragms are more raised up and we can see far less of the lungs. This is an example of a standard X-ray. This is very good. So why is this very good? Without going into too much detail, we have enough of the thorax. We can see that the diaphragms are depressed enough and the scapulas are out of the way, which is what rolling forwards does. Perfect. We can also see that the clavicles are equidistant and they're below the apex of the lung. And the sternoclavicular joints look equidistant. Always important to evaluate your image, and in future videos we'll go through systems used to evaluate your image to see if you need to repeat it or if you need to do anything else. What are some common errors that students make, especially during OSCE exams when doing PA positioning? Well, not asking your patient to do a big enough breath or just forgetting to ask them anyway. A common mistake that students make is instead of moving the vertical bucky up and down, they move the X-ray tube up and down, which misaligns the auto position you've done. Another mistake is missing off the bases. This can be corrected by moving the image receptor down slightly to include more of the bottom of the patient. Then you'll definitely get the bases then. And also not putting a primary beam marker. Don't forget your markers. What have we learnt today? We've learnt about the importance of introducing ourselves and greeting a patient. We've learnt how to get them changed for a PA chest X-ray. We've learned how to position them against the image receptor with their chins raised up and shoulders depressed and rolled forwards. We've learned how to give them breathing instructions and how to briefly evaluate a PA chest X-ray. In our next video, we're going to be looking at how to position for an AP chest X-ray. If you like this video, subscribe for more lessons and consider sharing with others as well.